We've got a new panel member on tonight, Rez, special guest. We better find out all about you then, Rez. So, as you can see from my exciting scrolling ticker at the bottom there, this is White Hart Memory Lane with Rez. So let's bring up the first question, Rez. Are you ready? I said it was a quick fire round last week, but it's not really. Just take your time. There's no need to fire through the questions. We got all the time in the world. Okay. So first question for you, Rez. Why Spurs? How did you become a Spurs fan?
It's a weird one, actually. My brother was a Spurs fan. He's older than me by 8 years. And my family's Iranian. They moved over here in the late 70s. And in Iran, everyone supported Liverpool. And he wanted to buck the trend. He didn't want to be a Liverpool supporter. So he tried to find a club with an interesting name. And funnily enough, at first, he was an Aston Villa fan. But
that's
then
not interesting, is it?
Well,
I think it's in Stanley.
An insight into his brain, maybe. And then we moved from when the family first moved to England, they lived in Hounslow. Then they moved up to Edmonton, and the local club was Tottenham Hotspur, and job done. And then I basically followed in his footsteps and was a Spurs fan.
The rest is history, as they say.
Indeed, absolutely.
Okay, next question. That's the first question. Here we go again. Next question is your first home game. Can you remember the first home game you went to?
I can. I came to proper supporting of Spurs quite late. When I was a kid, it was like, who do you support? Oh, Tottenham. But I didn't really follow until sort of into my teens. And then the first home game was actually it was in 2001, something like that. And it wasn't actually my first Spurs game, but my first home game was Spurs 4, Fulham 0. I think Anderton was in there and Rebrov scored one of them.
The aforementioned Anderton.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think was that the club? I thought was that the team that Leonardson was playing in as well. Because I for some reason I had this thing for Leonardson because he came from us from Liverpool, I think. And I thought he played really well at Liverpool, and it's like, yeah, we should get him. It'd be really good. And then he came, and he wasn't that good.
Gazza was telling us a story about the time he met Darren Anderton the other day. Do you want to tell that on the pod, Gaz?
Can do.
maybe leave out the last few sentences with your summary of Darren Anderton as a person. Basically,
Darren is much nicer these days.
Yeah. Gazza met Dean Austin and Darren Anderton in the former club in Watford. What was it called? We googled it the other day because we couldn't remember what it was called. No, Destinies.
Oh,
yeah. Destinies. First away game.
First away game was Wimbledon 2, Spurs 6. That was the thing that was
Klinsmann game.
Klinsmann game, exactly.
Yeah.
And Ginola in the team as well. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. It was my 20th birthday as well on that day. And again, my brother he didn't tell me where we were going. It was me and him, my younger brother, and a friend. And he just sort of got us on the train down because we lived in North London. Didn't know where we got off at Selhurst Park because that's where they were playing at the time. And it was just when we finally got to the stadium and I realised what it was, I just went mental. I was a grown man, but it was like my first game ever. And yeah, it's fantastic. I think it was 2-2 at half time. And it was towards the end of the second half, it was like we were shouting, we want 6. And then bang, he scored the 6. It was just fantastic. It was
I bet you thought it's like this every week, didn't you?
Yeah.
Getting relegated that season.
Yeah, we were.
We need to win that game.
Yeah, it was that game that saved us.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of sort of downs after that sort of big thing, but
probably the next week, Rez.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once it's in your blood, what can you do? It's an addiction,
Yeah, absolutely. Next question: can you remember the first Spurs shirt you had? Your name and number that you had on the back.
Right. In actual fact, the first Spurs shirt that I've ever had a name and a number on is actually this one that I'm wearing.
Go on, turn around, show us your arse then.
There we go. Is it
Sunny? Yeah.
I was going to get Bale, but I just felt, I don't know, Sun was a bit You know, he deserves
iconic. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. You know, the first Spurs shirt I ever got, though, funnily enough, like my first game was an away shirt. It was the purple and navy blue striped Hewlett Packard one. Yeah. And I really loved that. And one day, I was still quite young. My mum washed it, put it out on our balcony. We've got a little balcony at the back of the house. And I'm convinced that the shop that we live above basically nicked it. Right? And I accused him of it many times, but he flat out denied that he took it. But I'm sure he did, because it's like, where else did it go? You know, unless my mum used dusters or something.
Also, it's good for disarming nuclear wars, isn't it, between Iran and Korea? You can
That's right. Yeah.
blend them off there.
That's right.
Next question: if you could go back in time to one famous game in Spurs history, which one would it be?
Yeah, that's a. There's it's one of two, right? One of them is actually the one that you mentioned, which is the FA Cup replay with Ricky Villa scoring that amazing goal. The other one, for the same reason, but a different player, would be the FA Cup 6th round against Barnsley, where Ginola did that mazy run and score into the right hand side, because he's my favourite. That's the next question. I love David Ginola, and that goal is
iconic. Ginola, yeah.
It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, being able to see that live would have been fantastic.
Don't blame you. That was a hell of a goal. And as if by surprise, favourite all-time Spurs player, I think you've just touched on. Hang on, I should quickly type in the question. Should I favourite all-time Spurs player apart from David Ginola?
Apart from David Ginola, Jan Vertonghen, I think.
Good shout.
I love Jan Vertonghen. I always describe having a bit of a man crush on him, to be honest. But I don't know why. You know, whenever he played, you felt safer when he's in that back four. You know,
such a shame we didn't get to say goodbye to him, wasn't it, because of COVID? And I'm sure we'll meet again. Our paths will cross, whether it's a testimonial or his team plays against us. He'll be back. Yeah. Your favourite era and team
that I've personally witnessed?
Yeah,
so that would be peak Poch, because I came to the game in terms of sort of watching it quite late, so I came in while we were still pretty dreck, and then just Pochettino comes along and just turns the whole club into this absolute glorious machine. It was wonderful to watch. Obviously, there's that heartbreak of not quite getting the top spot, you know, finishing third, finishing second, but it was beautiful to watch. It really was, and there was such a sense of family around the club. Everyone seemed to sort of like pull together, and sadly nowadays, you know, recently we've been quite fractious. There's been a lot of sort of.
That's what you get with Mourinho, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there was that and to be fair, I was one of those that stood by him longer than most.
I did as well.
Yeah, but it just, I mean, ultimately, it was at the end of it, you could see there really was nothing left to defend. And so, yeah, that era I absolutely loved, because it was great to watch. It was fun. It was energetic. Everyone seemed to be together. And yeah, that for me.
Well, the managers that have done best for us in recent times have been those kind of managers that put an arm around the shoulder and are good at motivating them. They Redknapp, Martin Jol, and Pochettino, which again, it beggars belief as to why Levy thought it'd be a good idea to hire Mourinho off the back of that, because those kind of big personality managers that get everyone singing off the same hymn sheet, they're where we had our success in recent times, aren't they?
Yeah, well, he's always been a fanboy, isn't he?
Yeah, it was an ego appointment.
Yeah,
we'll get onto him later, don't you worry. Most memorable UK away day.
Well, obviously the Wimbledon, but the one memorable for a bad reason was we went to Stamford Bridge. I can't remember what year it was, but Gallas was playing for them and he was the one who scored, and that still lives in my memory because it was heartbreaking. It was like right at the last minute, and we could have come away with 3 points, and then I think we could have come away with a draw. and he just scored in like the 87th minute or something like that, and it was just horrible. It was like, heartbreaking.
I think me, Gazza and Jens might have been at that one as well. Actually, is that when we met you, Jens, in Fulham?
No, I wasn't there.
No,
that was when the one where you met me in Fulham was when Aurelio Gomez spilled the shot and it didn't go over the line.
Put his hand on the line, yeah.
And
then Gazza was going like that to the Chelsea fans.
I still gave it. Pathetic.
Never do that. Never. I mean, if there's one club that's going to regret taking the piss during a game.
Yeah, Gazza nearly had a fight. We were all right afterwards, eh? Most memorable European away day, if you've been to a European away day.
I've never been to a European away day because I've only just got my season ticket last season, so I've not built up points to sort of be able to apply for European away days, and I've never had the opportunity.
You should have come with us to Leon, mate. We stood in the Leon end. It was great.
Oh, really?
We all jumped up, got loads of stuff thrown at us. It was hilarious.
Good. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Favourite match day Spurs pub? Where do you drink when you go up to the lane these days?
Usually now it's what they call the number 8. What used to be the Bell and Hare. Mainly because it's got space, that rather large beer garden outside, which means that I can smoke because I've been a heavy smoker for a long time, and it's anywhere where I can puff away.
That's one of the reasons we used to go there, because the guys could smoke at the back and they actually serve cans into that can bar at the back. So you didn't have to drink the water down. You didn't have to queue up and drink the watered down piss inside, did you? You could actually get a proper can of lager inside.
Yeah. Or a soft drink in my case, because Jens knows I don't drink very much. So. Yeah.
Right, that's the end of the quick fire res round.
Awesome.
Call it.